Okay, fellows out there, welcome to lecture 4 of module 2 of the video series Introduction to Data Structures in C. In my previous video, we had looked into what is dynamic memory allocation, where can we use them, what are their advantages, and how are they different from static memory allocation. In this video, we will be looking into some more concepts and the usage of dynamic memory allocation and how these concepts can be used in C programming. So let's get started. So if the problem statement is like this, if we are asked to create a dynamic array which can hold n numbers and I want the largest number to be there in the first position. So replace the first position after the array is entered with the largest element of the array. So that's the problem statement. So given these problem statements, let's basically look into how it can be implemented in C. So in this code snippet, I have a main function. So initially I have two variables, I and n. I, which is used as a counter for the for loop, and n is the variable which holds the number of elements that array should have, which is been declared or which is been specified by the runtime by the user, unlike that of the static memory allocation. So that is what these two variables are there for. Then I have another pointer variable. So the pointer variable name is element and it is of the type float. So this pointer can basically point to variable or variables of type float. So it can point to a single variable or it can point to an array of variables or datas of type float. So this pointer variable is used to point to the dynamic array which is going to get allocated. So if you remember, every dynamic memory allocation is basically referred or referenced using an array or an pointer variable. So the dynamic array is been referenced using a pointer. So this variable or pointer variable is for this purpose. So having declared all the initial variables, now I ask the user to input the number of elements that I want to be present in this array. Okay, this is the key difference. And allocate only number of memory spaces as required, which is n, which has been specified by the user during the runtime. So having got the information from the user about the number of variables this array has, then I do my memory allocation in the heap. So how do I do it? I do it dynamically using the malloc function. So if you look into the syntax of this malloc function, then I have malloc and it takes one parameter, and the parameter is the number of memories that needs to be allocated and to be pointed by the pointer element. So the user has said that he wants to store basically n floating point variables. So the number of memories required are size of float into n. Okay, so that much memory is being allocated by this malloc in the heap. And malloc basically returns a void pointer, which is later typecasted to a floating point pointer and is being referenced by the pointer element. So the pointer element points to the array of memory, okay, allocated in the heap by the malloc function. So this is basically, this pointer variable points to the n number of elements which is been or memories which are being allocated in the heap. So that is what this function does. So now I have memory which has been allocated to store the n number of floating point variables. So since the memory is now available for me, later on I ask the user to input the n number of floating point numbers and store them in this heap which has been allocated. So this for loop basically performs that task. So I print input the first number. Mind you, I goes from 0 to n minus 1, that is n number of memories. So ask the user for the first number, 0 plus 1 first number. The user inputs the first number which is stored in the 0th element or 0th index of the array. So take care that the index starts from 0 to n minus 1, but we say the position is 1 to n. Okay, so that's the regular convention. So that is what happens in this for loop. So once the array gets filled up, this dynamic array gets filled up with n number of floating point numbers as given by the user in this for loop, then I do my iteration to replace the largest number in the first position, that is the base address of the array. Okay, so this for loop basically performs that task. So I again iterate from 1 to n minus 1, taking the first element as the reference. Okay, so if the first element is smaller than the second element, then replace the second element by the first element, or rather replace the first element by the second element. In the later iteration, if the first element is smaller than the third element, then replace the first element with the third element, and so on. So this goes on from 0 to n minus 1. Okay, so I'll be comparing the first element in the array, okay, which is at index 0, with all the other elements 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1. And if I find that this element which is been pointed to by the pointer element, okay, with an offset obviously, is greater than the first element, then I do a swap. So that is what happens in this for loop. Okay, so after iterating through the array in this for loop, the base address or the first element of the array will have the largest element, and then I print it out. Okay, I say the largest element is, okay, I print it out with the precision of 0.2 decimal values. I print out the element of the first element of the array, that is the element at the 0th index. Okay, so here the star stands for value at, so I print out the value at the address pointed by the pointer element. So this is how dynamic memory gets allocated, and we can initialize it, and basically we can do some manipulation in this particular memory space which has been allocated to us. Hope the concept is clear. Okay, so let's move further. Now have a look at this question and try to guess the answer. What is the return type of malloc or calloc? Is it a void pointer, or is it a pointer allocated of the type of memory which has been specified? Is it a double void pointer, or it is an integer pointer? So if you have guessed A, that's the right answer. Okay, so as I mentioned many a times previously, malloc and calloc basically returns a void pointer. A void pointer is a pointer which can be typecasted to any other type of pointer. So you can typecast a void pointer to an int, float, character, whatsoever. Okay, so that's it. Look at this. Which of the following is true? Pointer is equal to calloc m cross n is equivalent to pointer is equal to malloc m into n. B, pointer is equal to calloc m comma n is equivalent to pointer is equal to malloc m into n. And memset pointer comma 0 m into n. Okay, so this, is it equivalent to this, or is this command equivalent to this and this? Memset basically sets up the 0 values in these many positions starting from the memory address pointed by the pointer. So that is what memset does. Okay, set the memory spaces to this value. How many memory spaces? These many memory spaces starting from this address, that is the address pointed by the pointer. So that is what memset does. Is this equivalent to these two, or is this pointer is equal to calloc m comma n is equivalent to pointer is equal to malloc m, or pointer is equal to calloc m comma n is equal to pointer is equal to malloc en. Okay, so which of this is true? And if you have guessed this as true, then you are right. Okay, because we know that calloc takes 2 arguments, well and fine. Malloc takes 1 argument. Okay, so both of them are fine, but calloc basically initializes or the memory space allocated to 0, whereas malloc doesn't do it. Okay, so this is equivalent to allocating the memory using malloc and setting them to 0. Okay, so the right answer is B. This is perfectly okay, but the memory space allocated will have garbage values instead of zeros, whereas this will give you memory spaces initialized to 0. So, but it is a valid code. These two basically allocate two different number of memory spaces. This will allocate a different memory space, or of different length. This will allocate m into n memory spaces. This will allocate only m memory spaces. So that's the difference. Same thing out here. This will allocate m into n memory spaces. Okay, sorry, this will allocate m memory spaces. This will allocate m memory spaces. Okay, this will allocate only n memory spaces. Okay, so that is of size n, whereas this allocates just m memory spaces, n bytes. Okay, so these two allocate the dynamic memory of different lengths, so they are not equal. That is what I meant. So these two commands and these two commands allocate memories of different length. Okay, so that's why they become different. Okay, and this is different because they allocate the memory of same length, but this initializes it with 0 and this doesn't initialize it with 0. That is the difference out here. That's why it's not equal. Whereas this, both of them allocate memories of the same length. This initializes them, the calloc initializes them with 0, and the memset does that for the malloc function. Okay, so this is the right answer. Okay, let's move forward. Match the following. Okay, is x equal to 1, 2 or 3? Similarly, is y equal to 1, 2 or 3? So basically I want you to match which of these statements represent these scenarios. Okay, the statements x, y, z represent scenario 1, 2, 3. So which of the statement represent which scenario? Okay, so it's like that. So the right answer is x represents the scenario 3. Okay, so here you are basically allocating 5 memory spaces using malloc. Okay, and then m points to it, and then you are forcing m to point to a null pointer. So once that happens, this memory is lost. So this is called as a memory leak. Okay, so this memory can never be recovered. Okay, it's lost. Okay, it doesn't get deallocated as well. Okay, because you are not using the free. Okay, so use a pointer, allocate memory, make the pointer point to it, and then force the pointer to basically point to something else, which is null in this case. Okay, so as the command goes, it's a valid command, it will execute, but the scenario is you have basically lost these 5 memory spaces, so you lose memory. So that's about x. Y is equivalent to 1. Okay, so what is happening in y? You are freeing n memory spaces. Okay, so you are freeing the memory pointed by the pointer n, and then you are basically making trying to initialize the values of these to 5. Okay, or one of them to 5. So this is called as a dangling pointer. Okay, so you have a pointer n which points to nothing. So initially n was pointing to some memory space. The moment you say free n, this space gets deallocated or doesn't exist. So when that happens, when n doesn't point to any memory space or the space is deallocated or doesn't exist, we say n is a dangling pointer. N doesn't point to any valid memory location. So we say n is dangling. Okay, so this scenario basically gives rise to the concept of dangling pointer. Okay, so what about z? Z points to the to the concept of uninitialized pointer. Okay, so I have set character pointer b, so there is a pointer variable in the stack which is called as p, which can hold some address, okay, which can point to some address, and then I'm telling value at p is equal to a. So when I say value at p, value pointed by the address at p is equal to a. So what is the address at p? You have not initialized any memory space, or you have not referenced this to any memory space in the memory. Okay, so you are using a pointer with uninitialized memory. Okay, so that's the scenario which arises out here. So you have declared a pointer, but you have not initialized it. Okay, so the pointer exists. When I say character pointer p, there is a pointer p which can hold address of a character variable either in the stack or in the heap. Okay, and then I am telling you, okay, saying that the value at address p is a, whereas the address p is not being initialized. So the pointer is not being initialized. So before initializing the pointer, we are trying to feed data into it. Okay, so this gives rise to the concept of, or the scenario of, using an uninitialized pointer. So this will throw an error at you. Okay, so that's it. So let's move forward. What is the problem with this code? Okay, so I've used a pointer, I've initialized it, I've declared it, I've initialized it to memory in the heap. Okay, p, what is the size of memory? Say size of int, so it can hold an integer variable. Okay, and p is the pointer pointing to this in the heap. Then I say p is equal to null. Then I'm taking and saying p is equal to null, and then I'm selling free p. Okay, so free is basically pointing towards null, and then I'm telling free that space. So the code is fine, but you have guessed it right. Okay, so free p is not going to free this memory because this is lost. The moment you have deallocated or dereferenced this pointer to some other part of the memory, this is lost. So this gives rise to a concept of memory leak. Okay, so there is no problem in execution of this code. Okay, but the memory is not freed. Okay, so you expected the memory allocated out here to be freed, that will not be freed and it is lost. Okay, so the right thing would have been first free the memory and then deallocate the pointer. Okay, and then use the pointer to point to something else. So first free the memory and then initialize the pointer. So this would have been the right way to do it. This is the wrong way to do it. Okay, so this gives rise to the concept of, or a scenario where you have a memory leak. Okay, so let's move forward. Of the below three function, not the above, okay, of the below three functions p1, p2, p3, which are the two ones which are likely to cause problems? Okay, so just have a look at this code. Which are the two which are the ones, p1, p2, p3, out of these two, which is the one function or two or all the three which are likely to cause a problem? Okay, so the question is only p1 and p2. Okay, fall in a different category. Okay, see, let's see what happens in P1. In P1, the pointer variable x is a local variable. Okay, so here I say int x, and then I initialize it to 10 and I return the address of x, okay, in G. So the address of x is been returned to the main function, but the address x, the memory space x, if you refer back to my previous course, I had talked about the scope of a function. The moment you exit this function, this memory is deallocated and it is freed. So whatever you return, the address out here doesn't exist. Okay, so because x doesn't exist, x is a local variable, x doesn't exist, so there's no point in returning the address of x. Okay, so as syntax goes, this code is very well valid, but if you look into the logic, you are returning the address of a memory which doesn't exist, which is deallocated or which is free. Okay, so this is something which is going to cause you or create a problem for you. About P2, what is happening? In P2, the pointer variable px is been assigned to a value without allocating memory to it. So here basically there is a pointer, and as mentioned here, I am telling you it is not been initialized. It is not pointing to any variable or any memory space, and then I am instructing the pointer to store the data 10 in this memory. So you are using a pointer without initializing it. Okay, it is been declared, but it is not been initialized. It is not pointing anywhere. Okay, so it's not pointing anywhere, and I'm asking you to basically store the value 10 in the address that it points, and it is not pointing. So this is going to create a problem for you. It's not a valid thing. Whereas P3 is perfectly fine. Okay, so I have, and then I allocate a memory, then I store the address of it and basically return the address. This has a scope beyond the scope of this, because it is in the heap. Even after the program exits from this, okay, all the static variables go out of scope, whereas the dynamic variable, these memories are still in scope. So I am returning the address of this memory, which is still valid. It is there in, it is not deallocated, it is not freed. So basically you can pass the address of this dynamic array or this dynamic memory to the main function, and later on use this array or this memory in the main function for whatsoever purpose. So this is very well valid, and that is how it needs to be done. So this is problem, this has a problem, this is perfectly fine. Hope you get the concept behind this code. Okay, so here is the question: which of the following is true, okay, and why? Okay, so might be the code will work and prints Z6, or it may not work. Okay, so which of these true, which of these two statement, out of these two statements, which of the statement is true with respect to this code snippet? So that's the question. Okay, pick A or B with respect to this piece of code. Okay, and the right answer is basically A. Okay, so why is it A? So you are declaring a pointer, you are passing this pointer to the function, okay, and then using that pointer you are basically allocating some memory space and then making this pointer point to this. But the problem out here is this pointer exists in the stack. It is very similar to a local variable. This pointer also is in the stack. A is in the stack, B is in the stack. Sorry, P is in the stack. P is in the stack of the scope of the main function. A is in the stack of the scope of this function fun. Okay, so the moment this function comes out, or you come out of this function, the pointer A or this local pointer A is deallocated. It doesn't exist at all. Okay, so you cannot do this. Okay, it doesn't return anything to you. So this is how this is not the right way of allocating pointers or memory space to pointers in a function. Okay, so what the code basically does is, I have a pointer, okay, and then I have a function, and I am trying to allocate memory to this pointer in the stack, or sorry, in the heap in the function. Okay, and then from there on trying to process this memory space which is allocated in the heap. So the memory gets allocated in the heap that has a lifetime outside the scope of this function. That's well and fine, but the pointer which points to this A, okay, so this doesn't have the scope outside the life outside the scope of the fun. Okay, so the moment you come out of fun, A is out of picture, and P is a totally different variable on its own, okay, which is in the scope of the main function. So P is as it is, it doesn't point anywhere, okay, and A gets destroyed. Okay, so that is what happens. So that is not how you do allocation to pointers in a dynamic way using the using an extra user defined function. So that's why you have a problem out here. Okay, so go through that. So those were some of the concepts of dynamic memory allocations and the problem that you might face while using dynamic memory allocations. Hope you have enjoyed this video, and stay tuned with me for my next video lecture. Thank you.